Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
New Zealand, let's see how they have assessed this game, how they have assessed their 11. We have a look at their squad. No changes, no surprises. Guptill and Daryl Mitchell on top. Both have been in form in this World Cup. Guptill finding it actually in the previous game with this knock of 93, his kilo losing knock of 93. Then the captain Kane Williamson, Devon Conway, who's been keeping wickets instead of Tim Seifert because they brought Adam Milne in there for him a couple of games ago. There's Jimmy Neesham, Glenn Phillips, and then of course full five bowlers there: Mitchell Santner, Ish Sodhi, the spinners, and the experienced Tim Southee, Trent Bolt, and then Adam Milne. DK, very experienced, ticking all the boxes kind of team this is.
That's what you would expect from New Zealand. They've found a winning combination. They're sticking to it. I still feel their batting is pretty vulnerable, especially if they lose a couple of wickets up front. They don't bat too deep, so that puts a lot of pressure on the batters who are batting up front to make sure that if they get in, to keep going long. So they got to be very, very aware of that. That is something that could come to, a lot of that could get them into trouble in the later part of the tournament, especially as the bowling attacks get better. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Conway, Phillips and Jimmy Neesham shapes up, because the last time they batted, Santner was batting in the 16th, 17th over, which is obviously not good news for New Zealand. They would want Santner to come in around the 18th over, because absolutely no batting after that. I mean, Southee can hit a ball, but I think they'd rather have the batters batting majority of the overs.
Yeah, Zach, here's the other thing, and we spoke about this on the show last night, albeit in another language. But here, I think the important thing for New Zealand is if they're looking at going for... So here's the tricky bit, right? Your openers are in form. You've got Guptill in form. You've got a team here which is inexperienced. So you're looking at, buffet of runs here as well, with no disrespect to Namibia. But you're looking at a buffet of runs just like they did against Scotland. You want your openers to bat a lot and make the most of it, but you're also looking at a little bit of game time for your middle order, because going into, the death games, which would be the semi-final and final as they would be targeting, you wouldn't want them to be brittle or under-batted or underconfident or not had enough time in the middle.
Well, it's about dealing with pressure and batting in a match scenario. That you cannot replace with any practice. Yeah. So yes, from that point of view, it's always good that your batters get in form, or they have their game time. They face enough balls in a match scenario or a situation. So they had that opportunity in the last game as well. Yes, Guptill had to really play a good innings to get them out of the hole. So that is something which did happen to a certain degree, but the runs didn't come through. So that is the point that you're making. They lost only 3 wickets, and Guptill carried the innings through. So today, no different approach. You want, because of the conditions. Sharjah conditions are like that you want one batter to bat longer. You can't be behind the game in the first 10 overs. If you're behind the game, then this is not a sort of wicket where you can just catch up with scoring those big shots. You have to be very careful in picking and choosing the deliveries you want to hit. Usually you look to target the straighter boundaries, which is the shorter boundaries. So that is something which has worked for the teams here. So that's going to be the key factor from New Zealand's point of view and from Namibia's point of view, that you don't let New Zealand get into that scenario. New Zealand will be trying to make sure that in that first 10 overs, you are around 70. If you are 60 or less than 60, then you are trying to catch up the game, and it's not the kind of wicket. You can lose more wickets if you look to play those big shots here. So you got to be very picky and choosy. So that's something which I hope Namibia has spoken about, and New Zealand must have taken the lessons from the previous game.